Greetings, everyone, and welcome to EFPN, the Exertus Financial Partners Network. We're thrilled to have you with us as we dive into the latest happenings in the world of Exertus. Our program today is packed with engaging content, including updates about the company and invaluable insights into the industry. Now, without any more delay, let's kick off this broadcast with our opening feature, EFPN Primetime. Get ready as we unveil the remarkable progress that's been made, providing you with an exclusive look at how Exertus is advancing towards its goals and making a significant impact in the industry. Prepare to be inspired and amazed by the exceptional initiatives underway at Exertus Financial Partners and across the financial industry. In the midst of economic fluctuations and heightened dissatisfaction with the current employment landscape, an increasing number of individuals are taking the initiative to explore alternative avenues for income generation and bolstering their financial knowledge that's driven by concerns about the looming possibility of a recession. Exertus Financial Partners takes pride in its commitment to organizing numerous in-person events across the nation, providing people with opportunities to enhance their personal and financial growth. Notably, last week, partners from Exertus in Hawaii orchestrated an event aimed at fostering community understanding about business ownership and also financial education. This event was the result of a collaborative effort. Today, it's a privilege to introduce Executive Vice President Mr. Jason Atelig, who will enlighten us on the developments of this recent event titled the Rocktober Saturday event. Jason, could you kindly share with us the key takeaways and highlights from this gathering?
So the highlights that I could actually pinpoint as to what had happened last week at our Rocktober event on Oahu is, man, for me would have to be the crowd turnout. I I went there thinking I was going there for two people and bringing in only total of four, but the intentions were there no matter what, no matter the crowd size. But then we had other leaders from Maui tuning in and saying, we'll bring people. And with those two people bringing their share of people, and then I was able to bring in more people as well. So we end up having a crowd of 21 people. And I guess the other highlight I could say, brother, was other than our good looks and great speeches and talks and presentations, we knocked it out with 9 new recruits coming on board, joining Exertus Financial Partners. So, two highlights that I could pinpoint from the bat, brother.
Jason, in your view, what is the significance of events like this?
For me, the significance of having events like this is to let the community really know that Exertus Financial Partners is here. With the amount of solutions and structure and everything that we have to offer, the biggest thing is, why aren't we doing more of it? So therefore, it became a decision for us to have more Rocktober Saturdays, Super Saturdays, whatever we want to call it, but we should be doing more of this because Exertus Financial Partners is really here to help people. And if you were to ask me again, what is the significance of this? Let our presence known and let people understand that Exertus Financial Partners is here to help the community.
Jason, what are some notable industry trends or advancements that were spotlighted or discussed in the course of this event?
So some of the key points that were shared during this event is really how divergent or how different Exertus Financial Partners really is. You know, other than our pillars that we live off: faith, family, finance, and fun, you know, there's more to it than just those things, but it's all within the core values of Exertus. You know, when you talk about um economy crisis with finances, it becomes a very huge problem. One of the biggest things I've learned, brother, being part of the financial industry is that, when your finances are not in order, it causes people to do desperate things during desperate times. It causes people to do things they will later regret. And it just causes so much problem. So therefore, one thing that is so key to Exertus is that for every financial problem, we have the solution. Paying off debt, preparing future finances, becoming their own bank, estate planning. We have it all. And the most unique thing that I could say is that if we just go out there and make it happen by sharing with people and letting people really know who we are, what we do, and how we help, it becomes a win-win, not just for Exertus, but also for the community. And that's what we stand for as Exertus.
Now, for people in the industry contemplating the organization of a similar event in their area, what guidance would you offer to help them get started?
Now, what piece of advice or guidance can I offer to any team member or leader in Exertus Financial Partners to do exactly what we've done in Oahu? Is think about it, plan it out, and discuss amongst your peers. Talk with your leadership, talk with your mentors, because they're the perfect guidance to helping you succeed in the business. One of the greatest things about Exertus Financial Partners is that it has everything you need to succeed, but you just have to be your greatest resource. And right now, we have everything in the palm of our hands, everything that we need to succeed. We just got to push forward and make it happen. Just like Nike, just do it. We have to make it happen. So we hope there are more events like this because we do plan to. Um, as a matter of fact, we did just discuss that we would want to have every October Saturday or November Saturday, whatever we want to call it, throughout the islands and really plant the flag of Exertus Financial Partners and let people know that Exertus is here to stay.
Jason, we truly appreciate your time today. Now, as we move forward, we invite you to remain engaged for our upcoming segment entitled First Take, during which we will thoroughly explore the significance of estate planning. However, before we delve into that discussion, we will be taking a quick commercial break, so please don't go anywhere as there's much more to come. Welcome to First Take, your go-to source for industry insights. In this segment, we're dedicated to delivering the latest news, insightful perspectives, and thorough examinations of both the trending headlines and the intriguing stories beneath the surface. Today, we are honored to feature a distinguished guest, Frank Divers, an estate plan coordinator and seasoned entrepreneur. Frank will graciously impart his wisdom on estate planning and its profound importance in our discussion. So let's get right into it. Frank, can you help us understand why estate planning is not just a concern for the elderly, but actually something that people of all ages should consider as part of their financial strategy?
So the first point I'll make is that how many people have a financial strategy? So having a financial strategy is not just a matter of age. It's a question of when does a person become an adult and when does a person start thinking in terms of how they want their life to play out. So oftentimes when people are young, they don't have a tendency to think about that. But when you look at very highly successful people, people that accumulate wealth and build huge wealth during their lifetime, These are typically people that start off thinking and planning in their 20s and especially their early 30s. So that's the key thing is creating a financial strategy. You don't just get somewhere by showing up. You get somewhere by having a plan. And when you're looking at someone planning their life from a standpoint of insurance and annuities, which will generate income for them later on, these are all about the what ifs in life, especially insurance. What if this happened? What if that happened? What if this happened? Then insurance fills those gaps for what if something doesn't happen according to the way that their plan is laid out. As far as the annuities are concerned, this is building a foundation for their future income, and which is extremely important when you're looking at a strategy for a financial plan that can generate a path for people to realize their goals and objectives in life. So those are very key things. Estate planning fits into it. It doesn't fit into it necessarily. It's the foundation for it. Anytime that you're building a structure, and a financial plan for someone is a structure. It's not a physical structure like a building, but it's an actual structure that someone is looking at and they're counting on in order for them to achieve their goals and objectives in life. If you have no structure, then there's nothing there. So structure is the very essence of anything. So the estate plan is the foundation. You don't build a structure on no foundation, and you don't want to build a structure on a weak foundation. A weak foundation is going to be where an individual or a husband and wife are going to rely on the government's plan, which would be the government process of probate court, to be the foundation for their financial strategy, for their financial plan. Well, if you allow that to happen, then that means that when that day comes, when the government's process of probate kicks in, that a lot of what you've created in your structure is going to run out the bottom of it. It's like having a basement that's leaking. Your foundation is going to leak out assets that you've accumulated in your lifetime, assets in the way of money, and any assets that are material that have to be liquidated into money in order to cover the cost of probate. All of those things are going to leak out of the foundation, thereby weakening the foundation for that which someone has worked for perhaps their entire life to create. Now is chipped away at by the foundation being the probate court process that takes away from the structure, which is actually something that the individual or the husband and wife has built. So what they built then leaks out the bottom and goes to the government, which did absolutely nothing to assist them in the building of that structure, other than just to be there and to take away from it at the very end. Not only are they taking money out of our estates as we grow and thrive in life by the way of taxes, but they're also taking it away at the end of our life by the way of the court cost and legal cost of having an estate, a financial structure go through the probate court process. So the estate plan that Exertus through Estate Plan X is created is an opportunity for people to build that financial structure with the proper life insurance products and the proper annuity products and other products that you folks have that strengthens that structure, and then putting the estate plan under it. It should be right under it so as to make sure that that foundation isn't chipped away at and watered away through the government's plan of probate. So it's the foundation that any wise individual or husband and wife should take advantage of through Estate Plan X to make sure that the financial structure they're building is built on solid rock.
Frank, I couldn't agree more. Now, in your experience, what are some common misconceptions about estate planning, and how do you address them when explaining its significance to clients?
So when I think of the word misconception, misconception is kind of correlated with the word misunderstanding. So where the misconception comes in is when someone isn't aware, they don't know. People are either unprepared, unaware, unknowing, just kind of going about their life from one day to the next, not really knowing or understanding what could be lurking behind the next corner. And that's really the issue here that we're dealing with, and that is what people don't know. The government doesn't take the time, nor does it have the motivation to want people to know, because the government's process of probate court is self-serving. The state that someone's living in is got billions of dollars that are coming into the state coffers each year just because of the probate court process. So is the state going to come out and say, hey, everybody should get an estate plan, should absolutely have a living trust. No. Why? Because it is self-serving. The government moves on things that are self-serving and are not going to advise us on things that are not self-serving for the government. Whereas having an estate plan, especially a living trust through estate plan X, is not just essential. In my way of looking at it, it's critical. When you look at how hard people have to work and people save and they budget themselves and they discipline themselves to create a financial future for themselves, not knowing is it's like I use the expression, the blind leading the unwilling to do the misfortunate. People just don't know. When you make it a point to explain to people that, this is really the reality of life, and that is everybody has a plan. It's your plan versus a government's plan. And the misconception comes up when people don't realize that. How many people stop and think about that? Very, very few. Typically, people will stop and think about it if anything tragic has ever happened in their life and they've watched somebody go through the government's plan of probate and they saw how bad it was and how disarming it was to a family. Then that is a wake-up call for them. How often in life do we have wake-up calls? Something that happens that snaps us to attention. It would be like driving down the road and texting as you're driving, and all of a sudden you look up and you're about to slam in the back of a Mack truck. Well, that's a wake-up call. And so this is a wake-up call. People are driving down the roadway of their life. They're building a financial future. They've got a financial plan. They may have to start small. A lot of people have to start small because they don't have the wherewithal to go out and invest tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance and retirement plans, annuities, etc. They don't have that. So you have to start somewhere. And I've always believed, because it applied in my life, that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. So it's that first step that someone takes, which could be a small amount of money each month that they put forth in order for their future to start laying the foundation for their future. Well, they're going down that pathway of life, and who's going to inform them of the critical nature of having an estate plan by having that living trust to be the foundation of that structure that they're building? That information is not out there. So that's what we're tasked to do. That's what we're called to do. We are called to let people know. Can we force people to do it? No. But I can comfortably rest my head on the pillow at night if I know that I've made an absolute point to make sure that someone understands that this is something you can't walk away from. This is something you cannot ignore. It is a reality of life. And that is, if you're serious enough and motivated enough and care enough about your family to make plans, financial plans for your future, for the future of you and your spouse, or the future of your kids, and maybe even your grandkids, everything that you want to do to make your life the very best it can be, to not have the estate plan X be a part of that beautiful strategy would be a loss. And I've often said sometimes the sweetest music goes to the grave unplayed because people simply don't know. Well, our job, our task, our mission is to make people understand, to take the time and to not let them just breeze over it, but to take the time to make sure that they fully understand that this is one of the most important decisions they can make as they go about planning their financial future.
Frank, estate planning often includes difficult conversations about end of life wishes and distributing assets. How do you guide families through conversations, and what role does open communication and transparency play in the estate planning process?
Well, the first thing that I want to address is the whole concept of difficult questions. And that's something that most of us have to face during our lifetime. Points in time along our life paths where we have to make difficult decisions. Difficult decisions as to, it may be changing some of our behaviors, changing some of our habits when we realize that we're going in the wrong direction and we're not making the progress that we want to make, or our life is just not developing, it's not unfolding the way that we hoped and prayed and wished that it would. And those are times of difficult decisions. Change is always difficult. Why? Because change occurs because we're breaking an old habit, and habits are easy to form and they're hard to break. So breaking an old habit is first a matter of making a decision, as I refer to it, changing your mindset. The mindset is one of the most important aspects of a person's life as to how their life is really going to play out. What is your mindset? So we can all go about our life and we can stick our head in the ground like an ostrich and pretend that we don't know what's out there in front of us and just act like we're going to live forever. And a lot of people go about that way of living their life. And then unfortunately, one day, 1 minute, 1 second will happen and their whole life will change faster than they could even bat an eye. It changed. And if they haven't given any thought to what may happen if an event that life occurrence ever did happen, then they are faced with more of a difficult challenge than they would be if they just make the decision. So when I'm talking to someone, I don't want to refer to it as a difficult decision. I prefer to reframe that and say, this is a decision that we need to talk about. We remove the angst, if you will. We remove the word difficulty by simply addressing it for what it is. It is what it is. How often do we hear that in life? Everything is what it is. So, what my job is, what my task is, what I've been called to do as a professional is to counsel with people, to explain to people, to educate people about what they don't know. And we've already gone into some of that with this interview, but now we're talking about making decisions. Again, you can procrastinate when people say, well, that's something I need to think about. Well, yeah, it's something you need to think about, but you only need to think about it until such time as you understand what the repercussions are, what the outcomes are if you don't make this decision. So if you don't make this decision, what you're really doing is you're deciding, you're making the absolute mindset that you're going to leave this to other people in your family to have to deal with. And trust me, when you leave these types of simple decisions, when you leave these type of simple decisions to someone else to have to deal with, that's just not fair. It's not even right. Why would anybody want to leave the burden on their spouse or even their children? And sometimes even their grandchildren, if they're elderly people, to have to deal with issues that they could have easily dealt with in their lifetime if they had simply made a decision. Not a difficult decision, but an easy decision. How difficult is it for a caring person, an adult or parent, to say, I don't want my family to suffer. I don't want my family to have to deal with things that are very difficult for them, because when I do pass away, I would like to think that somebody may be a little bit sad about that. They may mourn a little bit about that. But I don't want them to be mourning and be sadful, and then on the flip side of that, have to be concerned about what are they going to do next? How are they going to unfold and unpack my life and all the circumstances of my life and everything that I've accumulated in life in a way that I would want them to? How are they going to do that if I've not given them any direction, if I'm not giving them any roadmap? So it's my responsibility as an adult to make these little simple decisions. When you go to this interview, it simply is asking you, well, when you do pass, because it's an absolute 100% guaranteed fact that that day is going to come, when you leave your final fingerprint in life, who do you want to get what? Who do you want to get what? And when do you want them to get it? And how do you want them to get it? It's not just going to go poof and a genie pop up on the scene and say, this is the way we're going to do it, because that genie is called the government. And when they get involved in it, you can rest assured that it's going to be somewhat of a nightmare. And now we are talking about degrees of difficulty that your family, your loved ones are going to have to deal with. And that is an absolute fact. So when you look at this and you frame it in the right perspective, and that is, these are simple, easy decisions that you can actually have a smile on your face as you're going through this interview and completing these questions, to know that once you're done, that you can close the book on this part of your life, which was a very smart part, to know that this part of your life that you just completed laid a foundation for your rest of your life, all the rest of your financial wherewithal, and everything that's coming in the future, and it's taken all these burdens off the shoulders of your loved ones, your family, and even sometimes your friends. It's a beautiful thing that's so simple. And when you lay your head on the pillow after you've completed it, rest assured you will sleep better than you've ever slept, knowing that you did the right thing.
Estate planning and its associated procedures have adapted over time to align with the contemporary landscape. Could you elaborate on the importance of how Exertus Financial Partners is using innovative online tools to assist clients in crafting estate plans?
So I'm going to use some reference points. that occurred long before any of us on this video today or this program were around for, and that's the Industrial Revolution. So when the Industrial Revolution came along in America, it changed the surface of America. It changed people's lives, not just minor changes, but major changes. Just imagine the first day that someone is going down a dirt street in a horse-drawn buggy with their buggy whip out, tapping the horse to keep going, and then along came the first automobile ever built by Henry Ford, moving along beside them. What that may have done to the person that was in that buggy looking at that horse in front of them. Well, that's what you call a major significant change in that person's life with that horse pulled buggy. And it changed all of America and the rest of the world forever, because you don't see those horse-drawn buggies out there except in Amish lands in certain parts of the United States. That was a huge change. And so then we get down to more significant, more current things that most of us can reflect on, and that is there was a time where if you wanted to plan a trip, you had to go to a travel agency. And travel agencies were out there on just about every corner, along with pay telephones. So you would have to go to these travel agencies and you would sit down with a travel agent and you would plan your trip. Or you would go to the airline, you would call them and you would plan the trip, or you would call a hotel and you would book a room. All these things you had to do because that was the only strategy, that was the only methodology to be able to do it. And then along came the internet. The internet was a major game changer in how we live our lives. It changed, it wiped out professions. It virtually wiped out the travel agency business. Why? Because you didn't need them anymore. It wiped out so many things that are no longer needed simply because of the power of the internet. And look at the transformation that's created, not huge multi-billion dollar companies because of the internet. When Jeff Bezos started Amazon back in the 90s, he came up with the name because he was envisioning having the largest corporation in the world. And people thought he was a joke when all he was starting out with was basically books. It was like a library. And today, look at Amazon. How has Amazon changed the face of people's lives, not just here in this country, but all over the world? These are significant changes. The world of law is about as old as anything can be. Law has governed humanity and society since the beginning of time. And it was first under kings and rulers, and then it's progressed through the years where we have judges and we have all courts and all these things and laws governed by the legislatures that tell us how we can live our lives and what we can do and what we can't do. Well, law is a foundation of how we keep our lives structured. In order to maintain safety and security, we have laws that we abide by. So the need for having a legal network out there is always great. But when it comes down to transactional law, transactional law is anything that requires documents. So back in the day before the internet and internet software, people had to go to a transactional lawyer, which would be an estate planning lawyer or a contract lawyer or a divorce lawyer or a bankruptcy lawyer. Any of these types of transactions, they would have to go to these types of attorneys to get that documentation completed. Well, because of the internet and some visionary companies like ours, we have built the technology that now takes it away from just the legal profession, because as long as the legal profession were the only ones that could do it, they could mandate how the whole process took place. They could mandate when we could come see them in their office. They could mandate how long it's going to take to get it done. They could mandate how much they wanted to charge. They control the entire process. And then we come along as a technology company and we take the technology away from the lawyers by hiring the lawyers to work with our software engineers so that we can duplicate what they have and then remove them from the playing surface and come directly to the public that we're serving via the agents like with Estate Plan X, that now through the investment that Estate Plan X and Exertus has made into the software, now you can provide this opportunity to your clients and eliminate all those distractions, if you will. It's a distraction for me to think I've got to go to somebody's office when they say they can see me. Not only is it a distraction, it's an inconvenience. It's definitely annoying when they tell me how much it's going to cost, and I have no control over that. And it even further annoys me that when we're done, they don't make sure that my trust is funded. So when we built this technology platform for estate planning, which is the largest in the United States, and we made it available to agents like with Estate Plan X to be able to provide your clients, we're giving the market, we're giving individuals and families the very best in the way of software so that they know for a fact that the plan that they have put together for themselves and their family is going to be one that's going to make sure that their estate stays out of probate court. So could this have happened? Would this have happened had we not gone through another revolution in the days of the internet? No, it wouldn't have been possible. But because of that innovative time in our history called the internet and everything that came before it, airplanes, automobiles, all the way back to the horse and buggy whip, everything has transformed the way we live our lives. And it just so happens that we were in the right place at the right time, close to 15 years ago, to identify this opportunity as a technology company and to hire some of the best attorneys in the United States to work with our engineers to create the opportunity today for agents that are licensed with our software through Estate Plan X and Exertus to be able to make this grandiose opportunity available not only to your current clients, but to the prospective clients who will start lining up at your door through referrals that you're going to get when you take care of your families, the families that you're working with, by making sure that the foundation of their financial structure is undermined with an estate plan through Estate Plan X and through this beautiful living trust that we've created.
Frank, we extend our gratitude for your invaluable insights today. Your time is appreciated. Now let's pivot to an exhilarating segment where we unveil the standout performers of the week, our top 5 players. These exceptional individuals have not only met but exceeded expectations, demonstrating unwavering commitment and remarkable success in their pursuits. Join us in celebrating their outstanding achievements and draw inspiration from their remarkable accomplishments. All right, team, let's get ready to witness the much anticipated announcement of EFPN's top 5 players of the week. We'll kickstart the excitement by beginning with our 5th ranked player, Gary Baldoza, who has demonstrated remarkable leadership by achieving an impressive 8,019 points in personal production. Now let's shift our focus to the 4th position, where Anita Cordero shines brightly with an outstanding 10,938 points in personal production. Now prepare to be truly amazed by our 3rd ranked player, Jason Attelig, who leads the pack with an incredible 10,961 points in personal production. Now let's direct our attention to the 2nd position on the leaderboard, the exceptional Martha Selly. Martha has undoubtedly set a high standard, accumulating an astonishing 24,143 points in personal production. But hold on to your seats, as it's time to unveil our number 1 spot. We take immense pride in presenting Joe and Blanca Rivas, who have achieved an extraordinary 50,550 points in personal production. Their steadfast commitment, exceptional achievements, and remarkable collaboration are truly remarkable. As we wrap up this evening's special, we want to express our heartfelt gratitude for your participation in our broadcast. If you found today's content valuable, please do consider liking and subscribing to our channel to receive notifications about our upcoming broadcasts. Speaking on behalf of the entire EFPN team, I'm Noel, and we deeply appreciate your ongoing support. Goodbye, everyone, and may this week be filled with success.